Here we go. Don't need to look so scared. I'm not that scary, Trevor. Hello, UK Crime Book Club admins and members. We've got the lovely Trevor Twohig with us again. I managed to capture you last year for an interview, and I get you again. So yay! So introduce yourself. Have you got books with you? Have you got two wolves with you?
Yeah, I've got two wolves with me. Yeah. So hi everyone. Thanks for coming along. This is my latest release, Two Wolves, which is the third book in the Charlie Stone crime series. And yeah, it's out now at Amazon and so on. And yeah, it's going really well at the moment. So yeah, really enjoying it.
We've already got Leslie Lloyd with us. Hi, Leslie. We like Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
We talk about books a lot. Which you would imagine, both being members of a crime book club. What else would we talk about? So,
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about Two Wolves and about Charlie's story so far.
Well, Charlie's Two Wolves is Charlie's third adventure out and about, and Two Wolves follows on from Sunny Sands, which was my first novel. All set in Folkestone in Kent. So Sunny Sands was the first one, and follows the story of a teenage girl washing up on the beach, and it's kind of the sort of Charlie Stone is there with his daughter, sort of having a day out, if you like, and he finds the body and sort of quickly gets embroiled in this case, which obviously goes a bit deeper than initially appears. And the sort of the USP, if you like, of Charlie Stone, although obviously I'm aware that detectives often have their foibles and their issues and all that sort of stuff, but it's his 5-year-old daughter Maddie who he's sort of estranged from, if you like, and he's not seeing her as much as he wants because he's recently been divorced, and so he's going through the whole sort of alcoholic kind of dramas that a lot of detectives have, but he's also got this sort of emotional tie to his daughter and trying to kind of get a bit of parity with that situation. So that's kind of where it starts. And then from Sunny Sands, like without ruining any of it, the web goes deeper and kind of goes more sort of European, if you like, and religion and sort of cultish aspects and all that sort of stuff in Crimson Cross, the second book. And then the third book, Two Wolves, it wasn't necessarily a tangent, but it was a bit more of a sort of free kind of piece of sort of writing for me, and it was more to do with kind of the friendship that Charlie Stone has with this new guy who comes to town, who's completely the opposite to Charlie in the sense that he's like a criminal, and sort of Charlie gets sort of drawn into his sort of magnetism and so on, and so where the police sort of system, the justice system of the country fails Charlie, this other guy, Robbie, sort of steps in, and Charlie is rejecting the police force and the kind of values that he sees as sort of hypocritical and failing sort of people who are victims in a sense. And so Robbie and Charlie embark on quite an exciting journey that's a little bit off-piste and sort of deals with quite a lot of things, actually, like immigration. It deals a little bit with the virus or a virus, and obviously the main thing, without ruining the end, is kind of the idea of mental health and depression and how alcoholism and so on ties into that. So yeah, I'm really pleased because it was a very risky sort of idea, and like I think with most writers, you have an idea and you have a concept that kind of comes from somewhere we know not, and then you want to get that idea out, but it took a lot of time to kind of get it so that it was completely sort of coherent and made full sense, because it is ambitious in its style, and as people who read my books will know, I do like to kind of twist things a little bit without kind of ruining the plot, and this sort of stays true to that, and I think it was very tough, like I say, and ambitious to do, but I think judging from the reviews and so on, it's worked. So yeah, that's kind of like a whistle stop tour of Charlie Stone. I mean, he's, you've read a bit, haven't you, Sam? He's gone through the ringer
to say the least.
And yeah, and yeah, I think that he is a troubled character, but I think the feedback that I generally get is he's interesting to kind of read, I think so, and British, and we've got that sort of Kentish sort of seaside vibe as well going on. So there's hopefully a lot of things in there for readers to enjoy.
There definitely is. And hello, Megan. I hope I'm saying your name properly. In Australia. So wow.
Megan?
Yeah, viewers
Australia.
in Australia.
Yeah, I do. I do have some sales in Australia, so maybe maybe Megan's one of them. I don't know, but yeah.
Tony Millington says hello, and Tony's had to be redoing our promo tomorrow because, as you know, I've been home with a poorly child today. So yeah, she's quite happy now. Wouldn't you know? Now school's finished.
Really? Yeah. Well, it's amazing that, isn't it? It's can you believe it? I mean,
no, not one bit. So yeah, we've got Megan saying hello. The thing with Charlie is he's so likable. There is so much going on with him, and yeah, there are the odd alcohol problem, the odd dodgy friendship maybe, but actually he seems like a really good bloke. And I wouldn't say he's just a full-on alcoholic constantly down a hole. It seems to be kind of, it comes and goes throughout the books. It's never been a constant thing for him.
No, and I think that in Sunny Sands in particular was kind of a cathartic sort of experience. My sort of experience of being divorced and going through that issue with my daughter, and a lot of people sort of seem to get halfway through and going, Trevor, is this about your life? And I was like, well, yeah, there are parallels. What do they say? There is no fiction, is there? It's only really non-fiction in a lot of ways. So I abide by that a little bit. But yeah, I think Charlie Stone, like hopefully all of us in the world are trying to do our best, and often it comes across, doesn't always come out how you want it, and it doesn't always work out the way. I'm not sure my ex-wife would say I was a great bloke, but you try your best, don't you? And I think that that there's that element of sort of autobiographical stuff with Charlie Stone, which has sort of it's eased off. I think with Two Wolves, there were I think we spoke about it yesterday. There's like a bar that that I used to have that is in that book, and sort of I wanted to kind of capture that in the literature, if you like, sort of, and people and the friendship in particular with Robbie, which people seem to really like Robbie because he was so he's kind of in your face, very cockney, cheeky chappy, and he's based on a real friend of mine who's no longer here, but he was a very sort of powerful sort of force in my life for a period of time, and did sort of take me a little bit off on those sorts of sort of crazy sort of adventures and stuff, which is nice for a brief period of time, but not forever, So yeah, I think with Charlie, he is a guy trying to do his best, but then I do get some of my readers who say, "Oh, he treats women so badly, and oh, he does this." But I think you're right, Sam, and he's trying at his core to work it all out.
Yeah, agreed. Megan did say that she is one of your Australian readers and one of your followers on Facebook.
Amazing. Thanks for coming along, Megan. I hope you've got lots of questions to ask. Because it's nice to have people from all the way over the other side. I wonder what time it is out there. It must be like early.
Not got a clue. I couldn't tell you what time it is here.
Yeah. It's one of those days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long day. It's been a nice day overall. And yes, Tony, she is feeling much better. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Tanya Jane Giles has asked, can you read them as standalone books, or would you recommend them in order? Now, I think in order.
Yeah, I mean, I think in order. The reason why I'm hesitant to say that is because although Sunny Sands is the most popular, as I've sort of got older, I guess. I think that I prefer the way I write now in the later books, and I think they progressively get better. So I think one of the criticisms, unless you know, Sam, I'm a bit sensitive to criticism,
not sensitive at all. Not one bit, mate.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think with Sunny Sand, some people have said that, you know, being able to characterize like better would have improved the book, but I was so sort of concerned about the storyline and making it exciting, and my thing really is to kind of make it, you know, bounce along, and I like it when people say to me, well, I've had a lot of feedback recently where people say, like, I never used to read, but I read now because of Rolling Stone books. Or they say, I read that in a day because I literally couldn't put it down. And so I think with Sunny Sands in particular, that was kind of my aim, was to give people like an exciting and interesting product that was like, you just enjoyed. And some people have said, oh, the characters could have been developed more. And it's like, well, yeah. Some people have said, well, the police procedural things aren't entirely accurate. And I'm like, well, yeah, but, you know, was it good? Did you enjoy it? And I think generally people do and they finish it, you know. So I can't remember the initial question that I was answering now. I've gone off on a tangent. But yeah, no, I think we're talking about in order, weren't we? So yeah, so absolutely, I think if you want to get involved in a British kind of, it doesn't matter that it's British really, but a kind of that type of character who is interesting and hopefully is a bit enigmatic and that sort of stuff, then I think reading them in order is best. But I mean, I think you can probably read them as standalones, I guess, but yeah, I think Two Wolves more so. I think Sunny Sands and Crimson Cross would become a bit as a pair. But yeah, I think in order. I think you're probably right, Sam, to be fair. After all that.
What a long way around the houses. I've just realised, because some of the names have just come up as Facebook user, and I've looked on my phone, and it's my friend Megan, who is in Australia, and says it's 4:10 a.m. So there you go.
Wow.
That's commitment from a fan.
That is real commitment. I'm very impressed. Thank you.
I can't remember the last time I saw 4:10 in the morning.
Well, my kids are up at 5 o'clock normally, so yeah, it's
no.
I hope it changes, Sam, as they get a bit older. You should reassure me. Fingers crossed, you know.
Mine have always been good sleepers.
They are good, but they
quite early, but not 5 o'clock.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's probably more 5:30. Yeah, well, do you know what? It's amazing. Like my daughter, my 3-year-old, she sort of feels like if she can't get out of the bed unless like she's got permission, so she just stays in bed, which is great. But then the boy, he's only 1, he's nearly 2. He just doesn't care. He's just up and about and throwing things around and stuff. So yeah, kind of got one good one bad one. But hey ho, keeps me busy.
Well, yeah, there is that, definitely. That's a good question, TJ. Hello, my gorgeous friend. She has asked, if you weren't doing this interview, what would you normally be doing?
Well,
so what? Like Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. I was thinking it was Friday, but it's Wednesday.
I think it's Thursday.
Is it Wednesday?
I know. Is it Wednesday?
Is it Thursday? Darling, what day is it?
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday. We're on the ball, weren't we? What would I be doing? So Thursday. So my biggest daughter, who Maddie is essentially based on, is now 11. Which gives you an idea of when Sunny Sands was written, because she was 5, so 6 years ago it was initially written. So yeah, so her and my wife are inside waiting for me to buy takeaway because it's 20% off. So yeah, so maybe just indoors chilling really with the family. So unfortunately, as much as I'd like to give you a really exciting sort of answer, that's kind of what I think I'd be doing. I've just come out of another a West Ham United meeting that I was doing before this, which is exhilarating, as you can imagine. But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, apart from I mean, let's say because the kids are up at 5:30. This to me, like 7:15, is kind of like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like it's kind of getting ready for bedtime now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of have to get all my fun activities done early doors, like 9:30 in the mornings, like kind of lunchtime. So
what are you classing as fun activities?
Oh well, today we went to today I went to, believe it or not, I'm trying really hard to do a fitness kick. So, because I'm on holiday, so I should really get involved. So I went to the gym at like 6, and then we went to Wingham Wildlife Park, which was very nice. So we took all the family and grandparents all to the wildlife park today. So there was 6 of us and then 2 of them. So yeah, that was fun. So that was good. And then then I've essentially been bounced upon, knee dropped, had my knackers kicked in on the trampoline by the 4 kids for the rest of the day. So that's kind of like it epitomises my existence really. And then thinking in the back of my head that I should probably be writing stuff, and then never find it to do it.
And then not writing. Yeah.
That's like you, Sam. Isn't it 15 years?
Say again.
That's like you, mate. 15 years of kind of not getting your book written.
I really need to stop talking to people about not writing and writing and just.
Well, I'm just going to make sure you get it done, mate. You know, keep putting pressure on you, positive pressure.
Oh yeah, cheers. Yeah, T says it's good to chill, and David Gilchrist says hi guys. Hello, David, group founder. The big cheese, the big boss is watching. So, are you now writing book 4?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is in. It is in the pipeline, and again, like I don't know how other writers do it, but I do know some writers. I basically get the concept of it, just sort of like drops into your head, I think, and then I kind of have to write the idea of that. And the idea, it's going to be called Born Again, I think, unless I change my mind, which can happen. But yeah, and it's essentially about this group of people, but essentially 2 brothers mainly who've got quite an organised system of stealing babies from hospitals, and
well, I didn't see that coming.
No, well, you've got to keep people guessing, Sam, haven't you? And I just think, like we always say, you know, it's sort of fiction is based on non-fiction. And I had a little baby last year, and so I got quite interested. Spent a lot of time in the hospital, and I got quite interested in sort of how secure they are or not secure they are and stuff. So I kind of had this concept of the babies, and but what happens to them is not as horrifying as you might think. But I think the book is going to kind of obviously leave little bits there, here and there. But obviously at the end, it kind of gets revealed what it is that happens with them and stuff. And so, I just thought that was a nice idea. I like the idea of kind of being born again. I think Charlie needs a little bit of good fortune and a bit of redemption in this 4th book, because the 3rd book is quite dark for him, I think. So yeah, I am writing it. I'm tentatively planning to release it around the September, October mark, because once I get, I'm kind of into it. Once I get into it, it can be written quickly. 60,000 words I can probably do in a month, and then the editing process, is probably longer. So I'm always over optimistic at when it can come out. So I mean, I think this year is probably more likely at some stage. But I mean, my main thing at the moment is just trying to maintain sort of. I do need to maintain momentum, but I want the books to be interesting. I don't want them to stop. If there's not a good story to it, I don't want to write it. So I need to kind of wait until the story comes. And like I say, I've got the main idea for it. I just need to put the rest of it sort of around it, So yeah, I will hopefully do it. And yeah, it's kind of, like I say, it has certainly been started. So that's quite exciting.
Good. That's what we like to hear. Don't know how to word this question. We were talking about something yesterday, and I asked if I could ask you about it, and you said yes. So do you just want to talk and explain what I'm going on about?
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope we're talking about the same thing, but yeah, the good news bit thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's early days, but there is a positive. I mean, some of my time has been taken up recently with writing the screenplay for Sunny Sands. and there has been some initial interest. Obviously, things have been slowed up because of COVID, and so on. But but there are some quite influential people in the sort of TV sort of production world, which I don't understand, but they are looking at it and they like the idea of Sunny Sands. So hopefully there could be an announcement about Sunny Sands, and then potentially the other two books being made into I think it would be it will be series. It will be series, and I think the idea for Sunny Sands is possibly a 6-part or an 8-part series. So it's just where it goes, where it best fits, and that sort of stuff. So I don't want to count any chickens before they hatch and stuff, but that's kind of taken up more of my time. And learning how to write screenplays, which is much easier, much and much more really like enjoyable, like, because it's kind of just the action, it's and it's, I think for me, and I don't know again about other writers, but I see I see everything before I write it down, and it's visual. It's everything that happens in my books is visual, and I think so for me, writing screenplays is really quite enjoyable, and hopefully there's some legs in this. So maybe there'll be more news this year, hopefully this side of Christmas. But
fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it would be lovely, wouldn't it?
It would be great to watch as well, because you're right. It does have that kind of cinematic feel to it.
Yeah, like I say, and it's always been. I've seen Sunny Sands, the opening, and everything in my head for a long time. So, like I say, I enjoyed the screenplay aspect of it, and I think it's David Lynch who says, you've got to get the story from the cinema in your head onto the page. I totally abide by that, and like I say, I can't speak for anyone else's process, but for me, I do. I just visualize stuff and then have to write that down. So I'm kind of doing it backwards, doing it the backwards way around. But yeah, no, I would be so buzzed if that was to happen. I think there's a lot of positives. Folkestone is very is very on the up and all that at the moment, and I think that fits in quite nicely with people's plans. So yeah, if you haven't read Sunny Sands, do it while it's still niche and cool. Before but fingers crossed.
See, now, I don't think you're going to be able to answer this, but Leslie Lloyd has said, would that be mainstream TV?
Yeah, I think that would be the.
And that's enough of an answer for now, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Tony says congratulations, and we've got Facebook users saying excellent, fingers crossed, and that's good. So I should probably be able to find out who those comments have come from if I look on my phone.
Thank you. That's very nice.
It's from Megan and Tanya, those comments. Thank you, ladies.
Lovely. Thanks. Yeah, that's really kind.
So, you're working on book 4. We're looking at Sunny Sands being available. Yay. To watch. I'd love to see Charlie on screen. Oh, so somebody's bound to ask this. Who do you want to play Charlie? Not that you have any say in it, but
No, I wouldn't have any say.
None whatsoever.
That's a really good question.
You must have given it some thought.
Well,
because how old is he when Sunny Sands starts?
He would be around 33, 34, 35. That's sort of 34, 35.
Similar age to you, by any chance?
Yeah, well, 6 years ago, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That's it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think if you were in Dreamland, I would say someone like Hardy. If the budget was no option, you could, because he's so edgy and dark, isn't he? And he's got his past, isn't he, and stuff like that. And he's bloody gorgeous as well, which is always What, Tom Hardy?
I know who you mean. I just can't picture him.
Oh, what's a good example? Oh, he's in Peaky Blinders. Oh, he's in.
I don't watch anything. I'll watch Sunny Sands. That comes to the screen. I promise I will watch it, and I'll tell everyone. But Leslie says Tom Hardy winner, so apparently that's a good choice.
I like this question up here, though, Sam. I like this. Who would I take? Which would I take in characters?
Yeah, so who would you take out for a drink or a meal out of your own characters? And that's from TG.
That's a great question. So Tara, who's like the love interest in Sunny Stan, well, throughout the whole thing currently, is my current wife. So I've taken her out for a few drinks, to be fair, and Robbie, who is this sort of beefcake in Two Wolves. He was a friend for a period of time, but was, you know, when you have those friends, Sam, that like
it's got the whole reason, season, lifetime. So was he a season?
Oh. What's that?
A reason, season, or a lifetime? So there's some friends that reason. So there's some friends that come to it. You might be like dad friends from school, for example. There's your reason. The season are people that you just kind of could be like one summer holidays as a kid. You know, a whole season of being friends because you're all in the right place at the right time, or colleagues from work. And then there's the lifetime ones.
Like that. That's lovely.
Stole it from somewhere. I don't know where.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So Robbie's like a half a season. Like it's interesting. Yeah. So he's that sort of thing. It's a really interesting character, I think, personally, in Two Wolves, who I'm going to bring into, and she's going to kind of she's going to work a little bit alongside Charlie in the fourth book, and that's Becky.
Oh, good.
I might have changed her name, but either way, she's God, I could be in trouble now. But no, she's very interesting, and would go for a drink with her as well. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to think. I think the main one really people really like or have liked is Robbie in Two Wolves. I think he's got a lot of character, but like I say, he's very much sort of. You know, you need to leave by 11 o'clock, otherwise it's all going to end in tears. That's kind of his vibe.
Oh my word! You do like to write complicated relationships. You do write them really well.
Oh,
obviously, you've obviously you've said some of it's from experience, but there must be a lot of it that isn't. That just kind of naturally feeds into what the characters are doing, where they are, what they're up to, what's happening around them. You've not literally plonked your life into a book. Just, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, no, there is a lot more to it, and I think there is like a love interesty triangle thing in Two Wolves, which, like you say, has not been part of my thing like at all. But is like you say, it's interesting, and I think I don't know. I guess it's quite easy in a way to write about stuff that has happened to you. But then, like, from my perspective, I want to challenge myself to write about stuff that I don't know about and stuff that isn't happening, because then you really need to think properly about it, don't you? And I think part of the fourth one, and the whole concept of being born again, is writing. I want to write women, which is like really hard, obviously, to do for either sex to write the other sex and stuff. But that's kind of, I want to sort of come a little bit more from that sort of perspective, which is why I want to introduce Becky in and show her sort of troubles and struggles and so on. So there's a bit of both, I think, Sam, definitely.
We've got a bit of a debate going on about Tom Hardy. So Taboo, no, I'm sorry, that's a drink to me, not a play. I'm assuming that's some sort of film. Personally, I've not got a clue. Haven't watched the remake of Mad Max. I've watched the original one a lot. Thanks, husband. But no, sorry, not a clue. Not a clue. I know I don't watch much. I just don't. Right. Sorry, go on.
No, he's just a very hunky. Like he's have a little Google after Sam. He's sort of very edgy, very I think he had his own sort of addictions when he was younger and so on. But he's been nuts. He does a lot. He does some of the bedtime stories for kids as well, like the BBC
My kids
bedtime
are a bit old for that. Oh, I do remember reading though. There was one that lots of mums were interested in on. Right, okay. I'm sure I'll not want to see him. I'm sure I'll know his face. Anyway, right. Something about you is you are an English teacher, and you're really passionate about creating, helping young people to, find a voice and be creative with the writing.
Yeah.
So that's been such a big thing for you, hasn't it?
It has been a big thing, and I think that it's something I very much enjoy, to the point where last year I released Pansy Pete, which was
release Pansy Pete. I've
seen
it. I've not read it, but I have seen it.
Yeah, I've literally done nothing with it because Charlie Stone's taken all my time up. But I really, we're doing bits of it now in the school where I work, and the librarian's going to read it and stuff. But yeah, no, cut a long story short, it's I find sometimes you read books with young people and you think they're never going to enjoy this because it doesn't sort of resonate with them. And nowadays schools are very, very complex places. It's like we're dealing with a lot of gender identity, LGBT stuff, and some of the books we're reading, like they've been reading Stone Cold, which is from the 80s, about homelessness and stuff, and it just doesn't, it doesn't get to the crux of things. So yeah, my idea is obviously to try and find things that engage children, but also kind of, I think with Pansy Pete, a lot of it was again based on my upbringing and my primary school experience, where I just didn't fit in because my parents were both immigrants to this country, and I sort of grew up in southeast sort of London, where it was quite white working class, and I football, and that sort of stuff, and I had to kind of learn all that because my parents weren't British essentially, so. So yeah, I sort of came from the perspective of someone being an outsider, looking in, and kind of not fitting in and being mocked by and derided by the boys, the alphas, if you like. And essentially, for a large part of my youth, I was much more comfortable around females because I think on the whole, females are kind of kinder and more loving and caring, and the world would be a better place if women had more influence on things, in my opinion. So I think anything that can engage, anything that can engage people, and especially young people, in the magic of creative writing is good, because I love games. I love PlayStation. I love gaming. I think it's a really important factor and helps kids with a lot of motor skills, stuff like that, problem solving. But essentially, it's that world that they inhabit is created for them. And I worry about the imagination and what can happen to the imagination if you don't feed it. And we're in a world really where, if you're not staring at the TV, you're staring at you're playing PlayStation, and that whole kind of element of, me, I was kicked out of the house and on my bicycle to go and climb trees, and do stuff like that. It just build rockets, and it didn't. I don't know if that's dying out a little bit, and so anything that I think can get fire up kids and fire up their imaginations and stuff is important, and so that's kind of quite close to my heart, like you say, and it's not easy,
No.
Kids don't have the support necessarily. Like, we're talking in the crime book club, and I dare say that a majority of the parents in here will encourage their children to read, because that's the nature of the group. But realistically, nowadays there are a number of parents who themselves can't read, and then there's a huge taboo around that, and it could end up dying, becoming a dying art, which would be really sad.
Yeah, it would.
There we are.
And I think I've put my kids off books. They've been read to so much. I own so many books. We've got most of the books that I've ever owned throughout my life are on the shelf in the living room, or shelves. Let's be honest, I don't just own one bookshelf. And so sometimes I think even when they do read, they don't tell me because they know I'm going to be like, oh, really excited and really want to talk about it. They don't want to. They just don't want to.
Bless you.
I know, it's such a shame. But it has been a nice thing. I worked in a school for a long time and helping children learn to read, particularly a light bulb moment where they suddenly get it.
Yes.
And they're suddenly inferring and they're interested. And there's something really special about that. And having this regimented way of writing, it's just not for everybody. It dulls creativity rather than inspires.
I agree, and I think it's so important for confidence, isn't it? Just to be able to, to read and write. It doesn't have to be, there's no such thing as brilliant reading and writing. it's all subjective, isn't it? You know, and there's some people who hate my books, and there's luckily for me, I'll hear about more people who like them, so that's great. Yeah. But you know, you it's different things to different people, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's so important to keep it going, you know.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So you set the Charlie Stone books in Folkestone in Kent, as you've said. Would you be interested? Would you take him out of there, or are you thinking about maybe other series or standalone set somewhere else at some point, or have you only really got Kent in mind at the moment?
That's a good question. That's actually a really good question, and I think there is scope definitely to take him out. He has moved around, obviously, like in Crimson Cross, he moves around a lot, like I say, across Europe and stuff, and we're trying to get the aspects of some quite interesting places like Hamburg and Copenhagen, I think, and Amsterdam definitely is in there, and stuff like that. So I think there's definitely scope to do that. I guess my current goal is to kind of carve out the sort of niche in Folkestone, because I think people do like that, and it is somewhere that has, and I think I've said this to you before, but like it has the edginess that I find quite attractive. You know, it's got that. It's got this kind of it's desiring to sort of be this sort of middle class. What do they call it? They call it Shoreditch on Sea, don't they? They're just trying to make it quite upmarket, but the reality, like, you know, a lot of places in this country is that it is not. You know, it's quite seedy. There's a seedy underbelly, and I find that as a writer attractive. I like both aspects of that. So so in answer to your question, I think Born Again will be East Kent based, but I do like the idea of say a Manchester, like, you know, we've talked about that, and sort of I'll be coming up at some stage, and sort of having that different, because it shouldn't really matter about the setting, should it? You know, it could potentially be anywhere.
It could, but it does add an element to it, doesn't it? Any setting, any place that you use is going to have its own atmosphere, its own feeling to it.
I think so, yeah, and I think like I say, it's really got me thinking, actually, Sam, because in my head, Folkestone's the place because of the kind of veneer that goes on top of it, and the underbelly, which I know quite a lot about from having owned a bar there. So there is that, and also, I mean, for me, I think that there's a kind of, it had that redemptive factor because of my daughter and the situation with my family initially sort of breaking down, and then I moved to Folkestone, and Folkestone was where I kind of sorted it out again, you know, and it didn't, no one really expected it to sort of work out the way it did for me, you know, and I was very lucky that I met, you know, my wife, you know, and things sort of, touch wood, currently are sort of happily ever after. So I think for me, I kind of, there's an element of I owe it, you know, I owe Folkestone a little bit. So that's kind of my feeling about it. But yeah, don't worry, I will move him about for sure.
T wants to know, what's your general writing regime? Now, I don't know how you get anything done. So obviously you've broken up for the summer now, but you've got a wife, you've got kids, you've got other things going on, and you write. How?
Well, I think it's interesting because I recently I think I've realised that essentially, if I was a child nowadays in school, I would definitely be ADHD, and I think that helps, like, me get stuff done, because I am quite. I think getting bored relatively easily and sort of having the desire to constantly take on new projects and new things has kind of fueled me, and I just can't be comfortable and happy. Like, the thought of doing my day job, till I'm 67 or whatever the age is now, makes me feel slightly nauseous. But I mean, it's just that kind of feeling. I just can't do something. I like projects. I like things that take a year. I like things that I can see a beginning and an end goal. And a novel's the perfect thing, isn't it? You know, because it's hard. Like, it has, you know, I left teaching and I opened a bar, and I thought it would be the answer to all my prayers. I thought it'd be really creative. I thought there'd be lots of projects, and initially it was like that. But then ultimately, when it's all said and done, it's kind of buy product, sell products, and that's it. And that's kind of what you do. And it's the same principle. I think with the writing, I think that when there will be a stage very, very soon where the spark will come, and I will want to just get born again down and written. And when that happens, that's kind of magical. That's a really beautiful sort of feeling, and it'll happen in a very short space of time. Well, I'd say short, but like a month and a half probably, the writing aspect. So I like that project-based stuff. I'm very lucky in the sense that I'm a teacher, so I paid holidays, which makes life easier. I'm very lucky in the sense that my school is kind of pretty amenable, and they've sort of got on board with my writing. They've kind of used it in some of their promo and stuff, so that's been wonderful. And also my wife is a brilliant person who looks after the kids most of the time, and I don't do as much dads as the woman does, so I do get the time, but it is certainly harder now I'm a bit older, but yeah, I think with regards to the regime, I think I've got to get the buzz comes, and then it's like the book is trying to pour out of you, and it becomes quite cathartic for me. And once that happens, I will set myself like 10,000 word a week like sort of goals. And I subscribe very much to the Stephen King theory. Like if anyone is like a writer or aspiring to write, I highly recommend reading on writing, his memoir, which is very easy to read, quite short. And he essentially says the first draft, you just get in there and hey, there you go, perfect.
You own it. Have read it.
I think I like it because he says kind of the first draft, you just get it, you get in there and you just you smash it out. And I think I personally agree with that. And then the editing process is where you sort of you get it right. But I love that. I love that phase, that first write. So I think really in my head, August is the time. I'm just doing a few other bits now. I've got a couple of other projects, music-based projects and stuff that I'm finishing off now. And then I think that's kind of going to be my time to really get going. So so I'm not, just to answer again, I feel I haven't answered the question, but I'm not methodical and regimented and professional. I suppose you get these people who like write sort of X amount a day, which I suppose one day hopefully I'll get to that stage. But at the moment it comes in. I'm the person who sort of doesn't revise for the exam, but in the last night we'll just stay up and do an all-nighter, get the work done. That's
Can't say that I've ever done that. I'll tell you afterwards. Leslie says Hardy and Accardi on the BBC with children's bedtime stories. Again, rings a bell. I don't know. So somebody said they're trying to encourage the kids to read. The oldest loves reading, which is great. So it's good when they go through things. But my youngest got a book in what do they call it? Happy Meal a while ago.
Oh yeah,
It was a Tom Fletcher book, and we absolutely loved reading the Christmasaurus. One of the best books. It was really brilliant. And it's this little book that she got free with the food is this about ancient Egypt, but it's a fiction and it's written by Tom Fletcher, and she will not pick it up. I was like, but it's Tom Fletcher. No, I'm not interested. Really? So let me know how you get on getting them to read. You think if anybody could do it, I could. No.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. And Leslie says all or nothing technique to go with plotter or pantser. So do you plot at all?
Yeah, there will be a vague sort of written down kind of where the story's going to go. But again, I think it might be Stephen King again, but I've read somewhere where if your characters don't go off on the tangent, if your character goes exactly the way throughout the book that you have planned, that's not always great. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a bit too methodical maybe, but the character needs to go off on a tangent, and the story itself as you write it may take the character off in a different way that you hadn't initially thought of. So yeah, I do plot, but I'm also open to just letting the tangents go, because if you're going on that tangent, you're probably quite excited about writing about it, which means it's probably going to make it quite a good section. Do you know what I mean? And so that's kind of my feeling with plotting. I think it's certainly useful, and I need the very basic outlines. But apart from that, I would be fairly loosey goosey, you know.
When you started, I've lost my train of thought completely. Oh, what have you learned from writing your first book to, writing book 3 and starting book 4? What have you learned that's been helpful along the way?
Well, Sam, the honest truth is that I've learned there's two things really. Like, I've learned that character is very important, to the point where I got a little bit hung up after Sunny Sands about. It's interesting because Sunny Sands, when it first came out, we got a lot of praise and so on. But then as time went on, people were a bit like, "Oh, characters could have been developed more." And so I learned a little bit about that, and I took that a little bit to heart, because obviously they were based on mostly real people, and getting comments like, they're a bit wooded, and thinking, well, those people in my life. So that's a bit weird. But yeah, no. So I think that's one thing, is to make sure that the character drives everything. And I think there is an argument where with Sunny Sands in particular, storyline and setting are very, very important. But probably as important as character. And I think with books, character needs to be slightly ahead of those two things. And so that was a learning curve, definitely. And I think, if I'm being honest, I took Charlie Stone out of the police force because, again, there are some people who, when they pick up a police procedural, they really want it to be, they might have been in the police force or whatever, and they really entirely want it exactly kind of like how it would entirely be, which the truth is I can't do. Like, my thing is about writing, again, like, I hope I write exciting and exhilarating sort of stories. That's kind of my vibe. So what I've done is kind of taken Charlie Stone out of the police force, just to avoid that little negativity that you can sometimes get from people, and go, oh, well, that wouldn't have happened. And it's like, well, okay, might have done, no, mightn't it? But anyway, yeah, I'd rather have that debate. I sort of just think, well, let's just save that ag. And now he's kind of, he's sort of on the outside of he's a crime fighter, but he's not within the police force. So, yeah.
A bit more freedom.
Yeah, he's got a bit more freedom. I think one of the things I've learned, I like grittiness, I like rawness, I like drama. I like it I like you to feel like I don't think I can write like a syrupy romantic book. Like, I don't think that's my style. I don't think I can write a sort of a Donna Tartt, brilliant though they are, like, those types of books. But I can write gritty, raw, visceral, real life things that hopefully people can read and go, oh, gosh, yeah, I understand. That resonates with me. And so I think, yeah, in a sort of, time for a cringy quote, be true to yourself. I think be true to what you can do. And I think with Sunny Sands, there was an element of, I'm a writer and I'm trying to be, and I wasn't really being necessarily completely true to myself. So I think that's what I've learned really, is to write what I know and write what I enjoy. And I think as well, for any aspiring writers, it's hard because, like we've said, there's no other, I as well, and with the music, no one doesn't like it and finds me to tell me that if your screenplay goes out, people aren't going to watch it on TV and then go find the writer and go, this isn't very good, is it? It's only when you write books that happens. So you have to be kind of prepared and be a bit more robust than I was when I first started, I think, to kind of have those sort of broader shoulders. I think that's something that I've learned as well. And I think if I like it, and the people who I respect around me who proofread and stuff like it, then it's got to be good enough, and then just put it down. And that's the thing. And that's another thing I'd say is stop checking reviews. I mean, I still look daily to see if I've got more reviews and stuff. And it's really unhealthy. It's like checking your social media all the time, isn't it? To see what, Jan from down the road's had for dinner, and it's a bit it's a bit like it's got to stop, man. It's not healthy. But yeah, that's.
You mean before social media, you didn't take a photo of your tea around and show everyone what you've been having? To be fair, one of our admins, Will Templeton, puts food pictures, and I'm always really intrigued. I'm always like, and then I'll make something really nice, and I'll think I'll take a picture of that and send it to Will, and then I've already half eaten it before I remember again. So it's still never yet.
I think if you're making cordon bleu quality stuff, fair play to you. You know, this is it, isn't it? I think fair play to people who do that. But then it's when you get sort of the 78th picture of someone's dog. You know, it's like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? But yeah.
To be fair, the only time I ever use my Facebook is to come on here. So UK Crime Book Club, that is it. I don't really use it the rest of the time. Megan said she finds it interesting when the character goes on a tandem because it's more exciting than letting go on the same boring pathway, and that would make her put the book down.
Yeah, and I think
that like it when people go off on one.
I think so, yeah, and I think that's the element of kind of the realism, isn't it? It's to make it real. Life doesn't tend to go in straight lines, you know. Life doesn't tend to go in the patterns that you design for it. It takes you on different tangents. So I think that's kind of I think that makes it good writing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. You don't know necessarily what's going to happen next. You think that thing's going to happen, but then maybe another ball gets dropped or something else happens. And so yeah, I think that's hopefully a sign of keeping it kind of fresh in what you're doing, you know.
Yeah. T said she loves Folkestone. She lives in Ashford.
I live in Ashford.
In Kent, and I couldn't think where in Kent she lived.
Well, I'm currently in Willesborough, doing this little thing. So yeah, I'm in Ashford as well. We used to obviously live in Folkestone. We lived there for 5 or 6 years, but we moved here just because it's a little bit more. There's a lot more going on for the kids and stuff, you know. So yeah, no, it's literally only 10 minutes down the road from Folkestone, but yeah, it's cool.
So, are you at the end of your garden in your writing hut?
It's sort of in the middle of the garden. I would show you, but yeah, no, it's sort of halfway down. There is plans to put a big, beautiful man den down the end, but we're not at that stage yet, sadly. The chickens are there at the moment, so
you've got chickens. There you go. I've just learned something new.
Yeah, we've got chickens. Good chickens. They're amazing, lovely rescue chickens. So so they basically were going to get slaughtered because they were not as productive as they they were. So essentially, this company goes and scoops them all up and rescues them, and then we bought them from the company. And honestly, like I would happily get more. They're great. Like we let them out and they run around. I let them in the house. My wife gets very cross about that. But,
I would imagine she does. Yeah, I think
I think
cross about that.
Do you think though? Like they're pets, aren't they? That's how I see it.
Oh, so many layers. So many layers to you, Trevor. Oh my word! Yeah.
I mean,
chickens in the house. No.
Well, the poo aspect's not ideal, you know what I mean? So that I can see from that perspective. But ultimately, like they're pets. I think you've got to love them, haven't you? You've got to be lovely with them. And we've got a cat as well. And they cat and the chickens get on, so that's positive, you know.
Wow, that is good.
Yeah, you know, look after the house when we're not there. But yeah, I think they're great.
Leslie Lloyd, I'm not reading that out.
Yeah, I've read it as well. I mean, I see what you're saying, Leslie, but you know, if you're cleaning it up in the garden, you're cleaning it up anywhere, aren't you? So that's my view on it. But yeah, I think I'm in the minority here. I think I might stop.
Yeah, I don't know. They've had chickens. Yeah, they'd probably be everywhere. Let's be honest. T is saying she used to live in Willesborough, but now she's down by International Station.
Central, nice. That's good. Nice, good. I don't know what T's lifestyle's like, but it's good drinking around there. You've got lots of the new places popping up here, there, and everywhere. Bars and courtyard bars and all that sort of stuff. It's all very on trend. So yeah, lovely stuff. Lovely.
On trend.
Yeah, on trend.
Okay.
And you're only half an hour out of London as well. You know, so it's lovely. Yeah.
So why did you, what made you go down the indie route? Was that always the idea for you, that you wanted to be in total control?
I mean, it did. Yeah, I mean, I was initially traditionally published through the Conrad Press.
Yeah.
I felt that I didn't really. I felt that I was. I don't know. I didn't really get the marketing support that I kind of wanted. I felt that I essentially wanted not to be told how to do things, and I found my relationship with my agent, who was also a writer, who's I'm not going to name, but who was very quite vociferous about certain things, and you know what, like Sunny Sands was hugely influenced and changed by that guy, and that's not a bad thing. He taught me an awful lot, but I do think that I've had equal, if not more accolade and stuff since going it alone and trusting my inner circle and people around me. And would I remain indie forever if the right deal came in? Possibly not, but I have friends. You're probably aware of Kerry Barnes, who's a big crime author. Yeah. Very, very popular. I'm good friends with Kerry. She lives just down the road as well.
I don't actually know her. We may well be Facebook friends, but I don't know her.
No. But she's lovely, and she's helped me a lot. And she sort of encouraged me actually to kind of go indie because she enjoys the control. The royalties are obviously better. So I think she does a bit of both. She sometimes publishes with HarperCollins and she sometimes does her own things. And I think that's kind of a nice halfway house, isn't it? I think it depends on the project. It's like we're talking about Pansy Pete, that I don't have any idea really how to market it. Children's books, so for something like that, it would be marvelous if there was a publisher involved who could help me with that. But with Charlie Stone, it's kind of developing its own what do you call it, like vibe and sort of it's its own emphasis. So I think really I think it's dependent on project and dependent on deal and sort of whether I can sort of regain sort of creative control, which I kind of do enjoy having,
Yeah. There are some really good groups on Facebook for children's books, for marketing and all sorts. I'll send you some links.
That'd be lovely.
A couple of really good groups. We have got 2 minutes left. I've still got a page full of questions, and we've got 2 minutes left. So I'm not going to convince you to stay another hour, but we'll have to get you back next time when you can actually tell us more in detail about the good news.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, one can only hope. Do you have a question? Do you have an exciting sort of question to end on, Sam?
No, but I've got two. I've got my two favourite ones. So the first one I'm going to ask you is, what was the last scene that you wrote, if you can tell us without giving us any spoilers?
Last scene I wrote? Yeah, it was quite a sort of brutal childbirth scene. The fourth book with quite a like I mean, all childbirth from my experience, I've seen four. I mean, are brutal in a way. So it opens with a childbirth, and sort of I really got quite interested in like the whole relationship with nurses, the whole relationship of a man, like, and your absolute uselessness, despite trying incredibly hard, and the whole thing in the hospital is just a very bizarre sort of Kafkaesque experience in my sort of thing. So that's kind of the last scene I wrote. Yeah.
Fair enough. We're going to end on a nice one. Memorable moments for you as an author so far?
Do you know what? I think anyone who takes the time to contact me and say, I've just read this book, or I've just read all three books, or anything like that, and starts following me, like Megan, people like that, make it worth doing. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. Like book signings, you can keep them. I won't do them again really, unless it's it's not my vibe. I find it really quite dull. But just having people feed back to you, and you haven't asked them to say it, they just generally have come to you and said, I dug it, I got it, makes it worth doing. It's not about finance or money or anything like that. It's about people resonating with what you've done, and that is so important to me, and everyone who does that, and anyone who is positive and sort of just respects the art and the creativity and doesn't come from their ivory tower, looking down at you as if you're sort of unimportant because you're indie. Anyone who is positive and does it, and comes with love, I think is really great. So those, honestly and genuinely, are the positives for me. I honestly.
That's a really lovely answer. I'm going to end with thank you to you coming, and I've got one final comment to read out. So thank you to all of the members and the admins who've joined as well. Megan says, Sam, an excellent interview. It was worth waking up at 4 a.m. Australia time to listen to Trevor, and it's now 5 a.m. Megan, you need to go back to bed, love.
Mate, she's amazing. I'm going to send her something nice. Thank you so much for listening. That's really kind of you. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And hopefully next time you're back, we'll be able to share even more.
Fingers crossed, Sam. Fingers crossed. Thank you very much for your time. You're lovely as always. I really appreciate it, and all the support. See you again.